Welcome back to the Deeper 2025 podcast. We are here to help you go deeper in your reading plan that we're going through as a church. And today we come to Hebrews chapter 5. And Hebrews chapter 5 has to do with Jesus and the suffering that he went through on our behalf. And I want to read verses 8 and 9 for you. Although he was a son, he learned obedience through what he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him. You know, these verses, they really wrap up in short summary form what Jesus did for us, why he came, his whole purpose really for being here. And it says, even though he was the Son of God, even though he was the Son of the Father, eternally pre-existent, he learned obedience through what he suffered. I want you to think about for a minute, Jesus suffered a lot. In fact, I think about my own life. I think about the suffering, quote unquote, that I go through. I think about the persecution that I've endured, and it is nothing in comparison to what Jesus went through and what he dealt with when he was on earth. Not even talking about his death, but just the persecution that he and the ridicule that he always dealt with when it came to the religious leaders. And so just a couple of things about Hebrews 5 that I want to maybe point out and help us to think through today. The first one is that we should embrace obedience through suffering. When we go through suffering, when we go through pain, when we go through especially persecution and you're doing all the right things and yet it still seems that you're suffering, that there is an obedience, there's a faithfulness that we're called to even in the middle of suffering. I know for myself, probably for you, there is this tendency when we go through really hard things to just try to give up. Like I'm just thinking about giving up, but God calls us to be like Jesus, to learn obedience even when we suffer, to be faithful even in the middle of a difficult time. And so I want you to just for a minute to reflect on the current challenges that you face. Reflect on the current difficulties in your life. And I want you to think about how that might be shaping the way that you look like Christ. Christ always wants to make us look more like himself. In fact, Romans 8:29 says that he works all these things for good, verse 28, to those who love him, so that they can be conformed to the image of Jesus. And so even through our suffering, we're conformed through the image of Jesus. But I also want us to think about the fact that Jesus is our high priest. That's what Hebrews says. It says he is our high priest. He is the great high priest, and he's the one that goes on our behalf to God to pray for us. That's a really good thing. Like, you don't need a confessional booth. You just need to go to Jesus because you know that Jesus is going on your behalf before God. He's praying for you. He's interceding for you. But we also have to have this eternal perspective. It's so easy, is it not, to get into a temporary perspective, to see what we can see, to believe and feel what we can feel and what we can see. But here in this chapter, we are reminded, even in the end of verse 9, he says he became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him. So if you're going to obey Jesus today, guess what that means? That means that your perspective is not going to be on temporary sufferings or temporary hardships or even temporary good things. It's going to be on eternal things. And so our eternal perspective shapes who we are and how we live today. And so I would encourage you as you walk through today, no matter the challenges, no matter the suffering that you're going to face today, no matter the difficult situation that you're in today, to think about when you go through those hard times that Jesus suffered, he obeyed, he was faithful even to the end so that he could bring us to an eternal perspective.